On New Year's Day. I did not mean to tell a lie. So here on our shared drive is a folder, it's still uploading, called mockup files. Inside this folder are all of these Photoshop document files. That's what PSD means, Photoshop document. And it's for all of the mockups that I showed you in this last remember these? Right? So I just want to take a minute and show you how to do this. Rather than use student work, don't want to be accused of favoritism, so I have this folder of PNGs. Let me show you how to start. If you're in InDesign, like this is a piece that I'm doing for my client. Notice the bleed, by the way. A lot of you forgot about this. In the side of the document setup, there's bleed. Okay, I'll stop. So here's the file. So what I'm going to do, if I want to have this as a PNG that I can then put into my mockup file, I will say export. And I can do it as a JPEG, I can do it as a PNG. Either one of these should work. I'm going to choose PNG and hit save. Now, this is what page number in the document. So if it was a multiple page document and I only wanted one of these, I could pick the page. Quality maximum resolution, you could do 200 or 150 and hit export. And give it a minute. And then if I go into this file folder, you can see, I actually did this earlier today. This is the 6 pages in my InDesign file. So if your InDesign file, if your Adobe poster is 1 page, you'll end up with 1 page. If I was in Illustrator, if I was in Adobe Illustrator, let me open up a file in Adobe Illustrator. Here, let me open this up. Oh, don't be obstreperous with me. Here, let me open up an Illustrator file. Let's see. Again, this is a file that I worked with earlier today. Let me just... So if I'm in Adobe Illustrator, and yeah, great project, right? But again, I'm going to go to export. I can say export for screens. I can choose how I want to export it. PNG, see down here, PNG, and I can export the artboard, and then I can take that PNG file. So whether it's in Illustrator or whether it's in InDesign, you want to get it out of the program and into a reasonably high-res PNG, and then you're going to open up one of these files. For example, let's go into the magazines. So let's say you want to take your poster and you want to make it into a magazine, or you want to take your illustrations and make them into a magazine. So here we are in Photoshop. We're going to talk more about Photoshop next semester, but I'm going to go to Window, Layers, and you can see there's already a bunch of stuff here in the document. There's some shadows and some highlights, and usually, I think in most cases, there is a layer that says your image here. If it doesn't say your image here, then you're just gonna, well, I'll show you in a second, but here. If I double click here, there's the magazine page. See, it's not warped or changed or anything. And all I have to do is pull, come on. Oh, behave yourself, get in there. Pull the document in. See what I did there? I just pulled it in, or I could come over here and say, where is it? This is the easy way to do it. You just pull it in from the Finder, yeah? And then I put this here. Now, you can see, I think, that the page dimension is wider than my page. So probably I would do this. Maybe I'd add some down here. This page dimension is pretty much the same proportion as your poster. So you're going to be okay. And I'm going to I'll close this out. I'll hit the close button, and it says, do you want to save changes? So what I'm doing right now, I am editing a smart object. This panel, this white panel, is a smart object inside Photoshop that has been manipulated in Photoshop. So I'm just editing the content of that smart object. So I'm going to hit save. And as you can see how it kind of contours to the page and the highlights are in there. And then my suggestion to you, if this is your Adobe poster, make a layout over here. Make it look like a real magazine page. Or if you want to use your 3 illustrations, make a layout. I mean, you can go back to the slideshow. I think for everybody, I made a magazine layout out of everybody's. It's a twofer, right? Because you're showing people you understand how to do magazine layouts, and you're showing them you understand how to make posters. Let's do a different one. Let's do one of these out-of-home pieces. Out-of-home means subway 2 sheets, bus shelters, anything like that. Let's see, this one, this particular Adobe file. By the way, you can only use these for your portfolio. Please don't use them in freelance work or anything that you're going to sell. They're just for you. All right, so in this instance, this is kind of an outlier. This particular file has 4 artboards in it. Artboards in Adobe Photoshop work very similarly to the way they work in Adobe Illustrator. But in this case, let me show you this. Again, I'm going to pull this in. I'm going to pull it down to this artboard. See where it says mockup 3 JPEG? And I'm going to scale it. And unlike Illustrator, don't put your finger on the shift key. Photoshop is the opposite of Illustrator. If you want it to scale proportionally, you don't put your finger on the shift key. So I'm going to put this, I'm using my cursor keys now, and I'm going to go up here to transform, distort. I'm going to pull this over to this corner. I'm going to pull this down to this corner. I'm going to pull this down to this corner. I'm going to hit my return key, and there it is. Now, if I wanted to use this, you'll notice, see how all of this particular file is an outlier. None of the others behave this way. See how they're all marked 1, 2, 3, 4 JPEG? It's told, this file has been told to generate image assets. So when you do this, and I hit save, and I go to the portfolio folder, you'll notice that this file has auto-generated this folder, and inside this folder are the 3 mockups. It's just a slightly more sophisticated file. Now, I think you can see, again, that I have stretched this thing a little bit. I might go in and maybe play with that so it's not quite so tortured. You can see that I'm non-proportionally scaling it. I don't know if I like it. I might go in and fuss with it a little bit. But you have, let's see, you have subway 2 sheets or subway 1 sheets, right? So you can scale stuff down. Again, this original is an 8.5 by 11. Your 11 by 17s should fit better into these particular templates. My 8.5 by 11 is getting a little stretched. If I had one of your posters to hand, I would use it. All right. So this kind of recaps what we talked about in class. You have, let's see, you have out of home. You have a poster. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be my stuff. You can do this with anything. I included the coffee pouch. And if you don't like anything that I've provided, there's Mockup World, there's Free Pick. You can just Google mockups. Just remember what I said about not downloading. Like if they say to you, oh, we'll give you this file, just download the downloader. Don't do that. That's malware, and you're going to end up with an infected computer. I'm around if you want to walk through this with me. If you want to show me anything that you're working on for your portfolio, if you'd like my opinion, please just be in contact. Okay.